Hey y'all, I figured I would share an unexpected blessing I got and reminder I got this weekend. So, um, this weekend was my college homecoming, and this past week was crazy. I was on call, and it was my fall break, but I also was trying to get some homework done so that way I wouldn't have too much work to do this weekend, because I did still have work for one class this week, and I didn't want to have like a ton of work to do going into this week, because I knew I was going to give myself a little bit of time to rest from doing work. Well, I had that. My son had a competition this past Saturday morning, and I wanted to be able to do a little bit of stuff. So I allowed myself to go to one party and then go to the tailgate, make it, to do what I could to go to the tailgate. And God used 4 different people to like really pour into me, and it was just like so unexpected, and like I had to like roll my eyes to keep from crying because it was just like so right on time. Like I didn't even realize how much I needed to be, poured into. And so the first conversation was with all 3 of the conversations involved one of my sorority sisters. So it was 3 different sorority sisters, and the second conversation was the sorority sister and her husband, who I used to work with when I lived in Charleston. And yes, like super, super, super small world that, they ended up meeting and getting married. But, so the first conversation was one of my sorors, and I had given her some advice back when I was in law school the first time. And I don't really remember the nature of the advice, but I know it was about her pursuing law school. And even if it was hard, to just keep trying and to not give up. And even now, she's in the midst of that. And she's gone to law school, graduated, and just had the faith that God was going to get her through. And as somebody who had to start law school over, I fully acknowledge that my second semester, God clearly told me that I was going to be out of school for some time. And, me thinking, oh, it's only going to be like a semester or something, or, I'm not thinking a long period of time. I was out of school from 2017, spring of 2017, after I had Steven. And I finally went back, last fall. And it was heartbreaking for me to end my initial law school journey. Because, you know what? I'm thinking, like, I talked to somebody else this weekend about going to law school too. And God is just so good. But, my original law school journey ended because the school I attended, Charlotte School of Law, was put on academic probation by the ABA. I'm not gonna put a whole lot since I still have girls. They were put on academic probation by the ABA, and that following summer, the state of North Carolina took their license to operate, and which effectively closed the door for me, because I only had like a calendar year worth of school left. And I had this plan. And another good thing about God is that if you pray and ask God for an answer, he will give it to you. And for me, in that case, I prayed and asked God, like, what I was supposed to do. Like, I had this new baby. The school at the time when I was in there in January could not give out financial aid as part of the probation. Their Title IX funding was stripped. And since they couldn't offer financial aid, you know, it pretty much made law school unaffordable for many of the students that were there. But I had a scholarship because I had originally applied to them back in 2011. And so they had offered me a scholarship in 2011, and they gave me the scholarship back when I went back while I was pregnant. And so I was like, okay, God, yes, it worked out. I could use all of my loans to live off of, and we'll be all right. And, you know, it was hard because all of the classes were online, forum-based. I had to watch videos, respond to those videos. And you know the irony of that? Because that's nearly 100% of what my program is like now. I have videos to watch, discussion forums, and the difference is I have one live class over Zoom for each class every week. And even that's a message. Like, you know, God uses everything. God uses that horrible experience. Me not being able to finish school, but I was already prepared for what I'm doing now. And, you know, again, I mentioned this in another video, how I made a confession, and one of those confessions is that I cultivate a lifestyle of discipline for me and my son. How I do that is me being in school and being disciplined enough to get my work done and study for my midterms and finals, while going to work full time, while being in an executive accelerator, while having a child and, you know, taking care of and meeting his needs while managing my own health. So God has given me so much grace and so much grace for this season. And, you know, I was focused on the negatives because I feel such intense guilt about showing up for my son properly, because, you know, I'm not showing up in the way I want to or how I have been. But I'm grateful for the time I do have. And so that was one thing. So God addressed the law school thing multiple times yesterday. The next thing God addressed was work. And I still had major wounding from the experiences I had with my first job out of college. Every ism, I experienced it. Ageism, because at the time I was only 23. And it was definitely a season of spiritual warfare, like on all fronts, relationally, career, physical, because of my health. And I just really, really, really thank God for getting me through that. Like, I didn't come out of there unscathed. but I came out of there stronger, wiser, and able to see and recognize things. And, you know, even now, God is dealing with me about some of the emotional wounds I have from my time there. But God used my old coworker and his wife, who is one of my sorors, and I met her my freshman year of college because we were both in the honors program, and so our honors program had a retreat, and it just gave us an opportunity to build relationships with, you know, upperclassmen who had already been, you know, where we were, and man, like, makes me go back to the point of just how good God is as far as orchestrating things. Like, God orchestrated it so that I could go to Clark Atlanta, go to one of the best HBCUs to me, and have the experiences that I did, meet the people that I did. And like, yesterday was like a full circle moment for me, because just some of the things that they were saying, and like how, you know, what I saw as a painful time, hurtful time, a difficult place to be in, God really used it. And while I may have felt like, you know, things didn't work out how I wanted them to, they worked out the way they were supposed to propel me forward. And like, I talk often about my old boss, one of my old bosses, who would say that he felt like women couldn't catch on to programming as quickly as men, and how I let those words like cripple me for years, only to be that I've worked at multiple startups now, and I'm at a company I really enjoy working for, and just all of the opportunities that I've had in working there. But had I listened to that voice, had I stayed frozen based on the things that he said to me, I would have still been there settling. And, you know, I've had opportunities since then. Like, I was able to go back to the government, and God, you know, blessed me with an opportunity to be in an organization, again, where I was affirmed in every way based on the negative experiences I had while I was at that organization. I went on to surpass what I probably would have been able to do when I was there. Like, I have been able to be at the highest level of the GS scale, of the federal government employee scale. I achieved that. And again, had I let that voice linger, I would have missed out on all the opportunities and blessings that I've had since then. And that was just like, oh man, I was definitely tearing up by that point. And then lastly was one of my, another one of my sorority sisters, one of my big sisters. And she just poured into me, like, you know, from like, all of them definitely hit my spirit, but she hit on, you know, spiritual things and physical things, you know, like, it just addressed so much. Like, I did not expect yesterday to be like it was, and it was just everything I needed. Like, I deal with the guilt because I'm the friend that I like to be with my friends and do things, and I haven't been able to see them. And I'm grateful for all the ones that give me grace, because they know I'm in school, they know what I'm doing, and they know my life, and I'm grateful for them. But I do have guilt because I'm not able to do what I want to do right now. But I remind myself that it's temporary. And so I'm just grateful that God used my time this weekend to just pour into me in so many ways, and just affirm me in all the ways I needed to be affirmed in. So that being said, God can get you what you need wherever you are. God knows exactly where you are. Like, what are the odds that I would have those 3 conversations at homecoming? And I'm just grateful that God saw me and felt the need to minister to me there. And thank you all of you, you know who you are, who allow God to use you.